Hey everyone, welcome back to the Sweeptrack Backstage channel. Today, I want to share with you the journey behind my main channel, Sweeptrack. I'll go over why I started, reflect on everything I've accomplished over the past 2 years, and explain why I've decided to create the second channel. To start, let me give you some context about where I was in life when I created the channel. In early 2022, I had just completed a music theory course, but despite that achievement, I found myself at a crossroads. I couldn't land a job in a studio, nor I could start my own music career. The industry had shifted. Nowadays, it seems like follower count matters more than actual musical knowledge. Faced with this reality, I decided to expand my skills. I turned to music production, hoping to understand and master the process. However, this wasn't my first attempt at producing music. Back in 2017, I had tried to start my journey but quickly became unmotivated. I couldn't see any progress, so I gave up. But by 2022, I had new ideas. I would combine my passion for music with another long-term interest, YouTube. Sweeptrack wasn't my first channel. My journey on YouTube started way back in 2013, when I was still in school. At the time, I created a gaming channel. Then, in 2017, I tried to revive it. In 2020, as podcasts were growing in popularity, I even attempted to start one with a friend. Sweeptrack was my first serious attempt at merging two things I love, music and content creation. The channel served multiple purposes. First, it motivated me to keep creating music. Knowing I had to post regularly forced me to learn more about production and refine my skills. It created a cycle where making new music fueled my channel, and my channel in turn encouraged me to make more music. Second, it became a way to track my progress. By revisiting old videos, I could analyze my growth as an arranger and producer. It also acted as a portfolio, something I could show not only to the public, but also to other musicians and producers as proof of my work. And of course, I wanted to build a community around my music. The idea of connecting with people who appreciated my work kept me motivated to improve. The next step was deciding what kind of content to create. I chose to focus on rearrangements and remixes of video game music. My first project, Kermit Race from Kirby. I remember playing Super Smash Bros. On the N64 back in 2005, and that theme had stuck it with me ever since. It felt like the perfect place to start. My process at the beginning was simple. I would write down the main melody in MuseScore, a program for music notation, and then create an arrangement in a different style from the original. Since I had studied music notation, this approach made the most sense to me. After composing, I moved to FL Studio for production, but with only about 5% of the knowledge I have today, which is still nothing compared to a professional, my mixing and mastering skills were terrible. I used the worst sounding instruments in FL to create a jazzy remix of Kirby's theme. The arrangement itself was solid, but the production, awful. I had no idea what I was doing. Still, I pushed it forward. To avoid second-guessing myself, I forced myself to work quickly and uploaded my first video in September 2022. At the same time, I was already working on the next one. Looking back, I think my approach was good. During those first few months, I didn't care much about views or subscribers. I focused on maintaining a steady rhythm, releasing at least one song a week. However, over time, I started to get influenced by numbers. Even though I initially ignored them, I couldn't help but notice which videos performed well and which didn't. To try something new and hopefully gain more views, I started remixing pop songs instead of video game music. My first attempt, the main theme from Neon Genesis Evangelion. Once again, my arrangement was strong, but my production skills held me back. However, this time something interesting happened. Over the month, the video gained traction. Today, it has over 80,000 views. By far, my best performing video to date. Encouraged by this, I refined the channel's visual style, but my habit of constant experimentation also created problems. I would make one remix with great production, but then fail to replicate that quality in the next one. On YouTube, this inconsistency was even worse. Some videos that I thought were weak would get 500 views, while others that I thought were strong barely got 70. After feeling lost throughout 2023, I slowed down in 24. releasing fewer videos. I also lean more into pop music remixes instead of video game music. Part of the reason was that I was running out of ideas. Sometimes I think of a great theme, like Pokemon or Castlevania, but struggle to come up with an interesting way to adapt it. Last year, I also solidified the channel's visuals, learning how to create more eye-catching designs. The challenge: remixing covers and original songs don't naturally grab attention the way other types of content do, but by refining my visuals, I aim to attract more listeners. I also changed my music production workflow, doing everything within FL Studio. This streamlined my process, saving time and giving me better control over the final product. One of the most satisfying moments came when I remade my first remix with everything I had learned. Comparing the two versions was proof of how much I had improved. My original idea, using the channel to track my progress, was working. This year, I finally understood why my channel struggled during its first 2.5 years. The biggest mistake? Lack of direct communication with my audience. I never introduced myself, I never explained what I was doing or why. I never talked to the people who support the channel. To fix this without hurting the YouTube algorithm, I created the second channel, Sweeptrack Backstage. Here, I want to connect with you guys. I'll share my thoughts and stories, especially those related to music and the Sweeptrack channel. If you have a topic or a specific piece of music you would like me to talk about, let me know. Meanwhile, my main channel will continue featuring remixes, and this year I plan to dive into covers and original content as well. Again, feel free to suggest topics in the comments. If you haven't already, check out one of my videos and a song I recommend. Thanks for watching.